Hey everyone, I'm going to do just a short video on one of my favorite subjects, which is bodybuilding. I've been a fan now ugh, since I was like 12, so 31 now, so it's been a while. And I'm a huge fan of the 90s. I mean, just the style of bodybuilders that you had back then with your Flex Wheelers, your Kevin Levrones, and when you actually started to see a lot of the other guys, Lee Priest, and I mean, 8-time Mr. Olympia Ronnie Coleman start coming up. Uh, I'm a huge fan of the 70s also when Arnold kind of like redefined the sport. Lee Haney in the 80s, but I mean, the 90s is kind of my era. And for those that follow, Kevin Levrone actually at the age of 51 has decided to come back and compete in the Mr. Olympia, the 2016 Mr. Olympia. So a lot of people are saying that, he's kind of past his prime, he's not going to do it. And then the other half is saying that he's going to dominate the show and is going to win. I personally think that he has a pretty solid chance of taking it. And he's been posting a lot of progress pics online. And if you look back, kind of the comparison physiques that you see is crazy with just the same amount of detail and shape and size that he has at 51 as he did kind of at the peak of his career. For anybody that follows Kevin Levrone, you know that he took off time. He wanted to pursue acting and all of that. He actually got out of bodybuilding. I think it was 2002. He decided to stop. He actually talked about that recently. He did an interview with Bob, was it Cicciarello? And he talked about the fact that he actually ended up, I think, tearing his tricep, and just wasn't in the cards, so he left the industry and decided not to come back. And like I said, tried to pursue acting there for a while. Lost all of his body mass and kind of pursued that. He has a YouTube video clip that he did with some guys that's pretty popular, showing, just how much smaller he got. And it was crazy to see him go from being a huge bodybuilder all the way down to this different size. I think it's like the 2005 or 2006, he decided that he wanted to get back in the game. He starts basically the Kevin Levrone report, and so the LevroneReport.com, and started doing a ton of different videos and kind of building into it. And when he announced that he was coming back for the 2016 Mr. Olympia, one of the things that he said is he's kind of been prepping for this for a while, wanted to do this one for the fans. He's always claimed that he thinks the shape and the aesthetics of the 90s bodybuilders is better than what you're seeing now. And I partly agree with him on that. So he's trying to bring back that shape and those lines and all of that, and kind of show that the current way of the mass monsters isn't the way the industry should be going. And a lot of people are making the comparison between, him and current Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath. And if you look at a picture of them, the comparison picture, it's really like they are kind of the same aesthetic build. Very, very similar. So I'm just excited to see, and this is, to me, it's insane. Coming back at 51 to compete at that level, and if he does it, there's kind of good and bad that go with that. If he wins, it kind of shows that the sport kind of took a couple back steps. And it'll be pointing those out, which will be good, I think, in that same sense. So there's going to be some need to be some changes made there. But still crazy that, like I said, he's going to do it at the age of 51. But you're still seeing guys like Dexter Jackson that are still competing. And I know he's almost 50. So I personally think, he's, if he doesn't take it, he's definitely going to be in the top 5. You look at those progress pics, and he looks just like he did back when he was competing and he was in his 20s and 30s. It's incredible. And a lot of people will talk about how Kevin Levrone is like one of those true genetically gifted individuals, and I'm going to agree with that too. The way he can grow into shows is insane, and that's what you'll hear on all those different YouTube videos is people talking about the fact that like Kevin grows into shows. And if you've heard all the stories about how he's basically shown up like 3-4 months out before and been like 178. I think that was one of the Mr. Olympias saying that he was going to come in at 240, and then he actually did. I mean, this guy can basically put on size like nobody else that I've seen, and still have that shape and that aesthetic appeal. And it's just going into this, I mean, the Mr. Olympia is next week. It's going to be crazy to see what type of package he's bringing. Now, he's doing all the social media stuff. One of the crazy things I want to point out, too, is just the difference in a lot of the stuff that he's doing now with recovery. He's hooked up with some different companies where he's at, where they're doing the sleeves, where they do the compression sleeves and all that other stuff, where they're actually trying to, like, get the blood flow to pump in and out so they can get that lactic acid out quicker so he can recover better. There's a video, too, with Dave Palumbo, where he's basically saying that Dave Palumbo saying that he's going to be Mr. Olympia. He's going to beat Phil Heath. And, I mean, just talking about how diligent he is and how he's growing into the show. Sitting at 251, I believe he said right now, his last update. But he needs to, Dave Palumbo's pointed, he needs to kind of stay off the Facebook and all the social media plugs, because otherwise you're going to let the negativity of some people creep into your head. I personally think he's, like I said, going to come in here, and just the fact that he's going to step on stage is like a game changer at his age, and just a testament to the amount of hard work that he's going to put into it. And no excuses from anybody else, too. And the fact that he's kind of, I mean, he's had those injuries early on in his career, but that was one of my concerns when I heard he was coming back at his age. And he got the release from his doctor saying he was good. He did a video on that. But I was worried he was going to get injured leading up to the show, trying to train and build into that. And then it wasn't going to happen. But it is next weekend, the 2016 Mr. Olympia. And we're going to kind of finish with the pick of showing him and Phil Heath here. Like I said, you can see, I mean, they have, it's crazy how their physiques are very, very similar. And Phil Heath has gotten that comparison before, and I think that's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking for Phil to know that. I mean, and he's quoted him as being one of his people that he looked up to in the sport early in his career, that he's going to be competing side to side with this guy. So I'm so curious to see how this is going to go down. And like I said, it's a game changer. When Jay Cutler lost the title to Dexter Jackson, and then he came back and he ended up getting it back. I mean, that to me was a huge upset, the fact that it did that, because typically if somebody gets the Mr. Olympia, they kind of run with it for a while. That's historically what it's been. And you had that, and then Phil Heath has had it. I think he's going for his 6th Mr. Olympia now. And with Kai, I don't think Kai's competing. He didn't last year. I mean, there's other guys out there right now that are good, but like a lot of them are going just for like that huge size, and aesthetics is kind of taking that back seat, which I think is one of the reasons why Phil comes in there and nabs it, just because his conditioning is on point and he's very, very aesthetic. Now Kevin coming in with a tighter waist and the shape and the size that he can bring, and the package that he can bring, and the conditioning that he can bring. I mean, I think he's going to give Phil Heath a run for his money. Dexter Jackson always comes conditioned and on point. But he's just been kind of taking the back seat to these bigger guys lately. So definitely going to be one of the best Mr. Olympias we've had in a while, just because of the mix-up. I do wish Kai Green would be thrown into that mix, because I'd love to see him up there with these guys also. But I know he's running this business and doing other side things. So I'm going to go ahead and say if he doesn't win it, he'll definitely be top 5 for sure. Super exciting time for the sport, just that comparison from the 90s physique to this current generation. And like I said, game changer coming in at 51. I mean, most people are going to be competing in the Masters or something like that. And he's not doing that. He's trying to get that. And a lot of people are kind of knocking him, saying that why does Kevin get a pass and he just gets to go straight and he doesn't have to do the qualifiers and all that. I mean, he was one of the winningest bodybuilders of all time, and I think he finally got surpassed by Dexter Jackson, but like he doesn't need like I think he's already earned his place with as many titles as he has. And if you look at those old Grand Prix photos too, where I think those guys came in the best shape, and you see Ronnie Coleman, him, and Flex Wheeler on stage. Like if he brings that type of package, I don't think there's any stopping him. So I'm gonna go with him for the win, and if not, definitely top 5 for sure. I mean, or top 3 for sure. I think it'd be a huge upset if he didn't get it. So this has been Stephen Rouse, and thank you guys for listening.